The stronger you get, the more deloads you'll need. And in today's video, I'll talk about the benefits of taking a few steps back in order to keep moving forward. So, the first thing I'll say is that experience matters a lot in terms of how frequently you'll have to deload. Complete beginners can often go 3 months or even more without taking any time off. Easy linear progression takes place, and if recovery does pose an issue, all you gotta do is reset the weight by 10, 15, 30% max, rebuild your way back up. You don't have to necessarily take a complete week off, though that can technically be helpful as well, especially as you get close to the intermediate stage. When you get past that point, you gotta start thinking about the absolute load, which is a concept that I discussed many years ago with Omar Isuf. We both came to the conclusion that the stronger you get, even if the same percentages are being used, the more impactful it is on recovery. Here's what I mean. If you're benching 185 for 3x10 and I'm over here doing 280, yes, the weights will move pretty much the same, but it's stressing me more. There's more fatigue buildup, and that's why you'll find with advanced lifters, they tend to overreach far more quickly. Not saying you have to do it every month, which could be a good strategy, but you'll find that within the 4 to 6 week margin, when you're really training balls to wall maximum intensity, that's when the body starts feeling a little bit achy and you're closing in on that overreaching stage. And what I can say is that since January, I've taken 3 deloads. In the past, that was not the case. So understand the following. Lifting experience is the most important factor that determines deloading frequency. And I recommend that you try to space them out for as long as you possibly can. But don't try to be a tough guy and grind through the pain when you're really feeling beat down. It's important to take advantage of this opportunity to yield the results, which is lowering fatigue. What you'll find is that with a properly executed deload, which I'll get to on how to do in a minute, you actually come back stronger or where you left off. The only difference may lie in a lack of work capacity, which you'll regain in a week or two tops. So that's not really a problem. But the idea that you're going to lose muscle mass or regress in performance when you've been training for all these months, it doesn't work like that, especially if you're natural. I believe it takes a minimum of 2 weeks before you start to lose muscle mass. And even then, it's a slow rate. And when you're deloading, you're not taking complete time off, which you technically can do if you're really on the bleeding edge of your recovery, but it's typical to reduce the weight by 50% as well as cutting down your volume. It may be a simple elimination of accessory work. So you're sticking to the fundamental compounds, you drop the weight by 50%, or even doing the same weights, but you're performing less sets. So there's different ways to go about it. Some guys prefer to drop volume, others intensity. I'm going to refer you to Dr. Mike Israel's videos on deloading. I believe they're probably the best on the internet right now. So be sure to check that out. But in regards to how you should feel coming out of it, 10 on 10. Not getting super sore after your workouts or feeling weak when you pick up the heavy bar. Maybe the movement patterns of some exercises will be slightly rusty, but you'll still be able to push through because strength is strength. And that's not something that we lose that quickly. And just to give you an example, I recently did not lift for 2 weeks, literally complete time off. And just so you know, you shouldn't do this. I'd recommend 1 week. Though if you look at some powerlifting competitions, some guys take their final singles 7 to 14 days out. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm going to say 1 week deload in which you're still doing some form of exercise is better. I had different reasons. But anyway, my point is this. I came back and my first session in, I did 350 close grip bench press with 30 pounds of chains. You know what that was for me? A lifetime PR. I was actually shocked when I got that, especially since it moved so easily. It's as if I didn't lose any gains at all. How did I get this done? Well, for one, I was still eating adequate amounts of food. I didn't compromise my diet, start eating a bunch of garbage, and I still slept like a king. And because I was actually overreached, which is when you should take it. You don't do it if you're not at that point unless you really want to minimize plateaus. But even then, the deload gives you the benefits when you've hit your limit. And that's exactly what it was for me. My previous PR was 345 with the regular grip, and it was significantly harder. This, I wouldn't even quantify it as a true 100 max. And the fact that I did it after zero lifting at all should tell you everything you need to know. And when we talk about guys who are even more advanced than me, I'm going to give you the best example I can think of, Julius Maddox. You know that he can't max out more than once a week on the bench press? Makes sense. He's the freaking world record holder. What do you think that volume and weight does to his system? Now, most of you aren't going to be at that level, but it just goes to show that the longer you train with the more intensity that you put in there, that's when recovery becomes more important than ever before. I can guarantee you that what you did as an intermediate lifter, or even closing in on advanced stage, it's not gonna be the same when you're elite. So just keep that in mind, all right? Anyway, that's all I want to say about deloading. Simple video. Take them when appropriate, either as a part of a structured system, say every 3 to 4 weeks, every 4 to 6 weeks, or every 8 to 12 weeks, depending on your experience level. And don't shy away from them thinking that you're gonna lose gains, because that's not what should happen when you do it right, or even just taking time off. If you truly hit that point of overreaching, it's only going to be beneficial. Sometimes that extra rest does the mind and body good. You will feel recharged and ready to come back in strong. So that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what your feedback is in the comment section. What has your experience been like with deloads? Let's hear it, and I'll talk to you all next time.